Jazz guitar is one of the most loveliest ways you can play the guitar. It's also one of the most technical. Jazz guitarists who know what they're doing are very, very sharp guitarists. They know all their scales, they know all their theory, and their ability to swap between the theory and use the scales to the greatest that they're meant to be used is unsurpassed. It really is a very sharp way to play the guitar. The purpose of this course is not necessarily to throw jazz guitar at you, but what it is to certainly give you an introduction here. So I've provided one piece of music which I've called the Jazz Standard, using some classic sort of jazz chords, which are a departure from all our other chords, in two versions. One's a finger-picked version and the other one's an arpeggio style version, which of course is going to keep our right hand technique really rolling along there. Of course you can strum these chords as well and they'll sound equally nice there, but it's a lovely, lovely little piece of music. It's very nice just to play to yourself or play to your friends as well. It's a lovely little piece. No vocals or anything like that, just a nice, easy jazz sort of sounding piece there. So the first thing we have to do is learn some chords. So we'll learn the most important chords there. They're the major 7th, the major 6th, the minor 7th, the minor 6th with a raised 5th, and then the 7th with a flattened 3rd. So let's go to some close-up shots now and learn these chords. Let's have a look at these difficult jazz chords now. The most first one, of course, is the major 7th shape. We're going to put if we're to do it in the key of G, of course, the root note is on the 6th string there. So we get a first finger onto the root note on the G note. The second finger goes down here onto the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. The 3rd finger goes there on the 4th fret of the 4th string. And then the 4th finger goes underneath the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Now the idea with these chords is that no open strings are played there. It's only the fretted notes only that are played. So we're only actually playing the 6th string, the 4th string, 3rd string and the 2nd string. The 1st string is muffled out, and so is the 5th. The 5th string is muffled out by the 1st finger here, just lightly under here. It's just lightly touching the 5th string there, and the 1st string is muffled out by the 1st finger of the left hand there. That's the major 7th. Now for the major 6 it's an easy change because you keep the 4th finger down where it is, move the 3rd finger down to there on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. The 2nd finger comes up here and frets the bass note on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and the 1st finger comes down here to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Once again, it's only the fretted notes only, so we're still only playing the 6th string, the 4th string, 3rd string and the 2nd string. That's a lovely sounding chord, that one. The next one up is the minor 7th. The root note still stays on the 6th string, so we'll fret that one first with the 2nd finger, and then the 3rd finger does a little mini bar down here across the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings. That's called the minor 7th. So there we're on the 4th fret, we're doing a G sharp minor 7th. The next chord is the minor 6th with a raised 5th, and of course the root note is still on the 6th string there, so the 2nd finger here plays the 4th fret note. The 1st finger goes down, does the 3rd fret on the 4th string, the 3rd finger does the 4th fret on the 3rd string, and the 1st finger does the 5th fret on the 2nd string there. So once again it's only the fretted notes only, so we've got the 6th string, the 4th string, the 3rd string and the 2nd string. That's the minor 6th with a sharpened 5th. So it's a G sharp minor 6th with a raised 5th there. The last chord is the 7th with an added flattened 3rd. So if we just do it here like a normal 7, and then what you do is you take the little finger down there and we put it down across the 1st and the 2nd strings on a mini bar of its own there. So that's an F sharp, and then we've got the 5th fret note. Now the 4th fret note is actually, or the 4th string note is actually muffled out by the 3rd finger here. It's just lightly touching that 4th string and muffling it out. The 3rd finger is playing that note on the 3rd string, and then the 4th finger is playing the 1st and 2nd strings. So that's a tricky little chord, that one. That's the 7th with an added flattened 3rd. That's all your new chords. The major 7th, the major 6th, the minor 7th, the minor 6th with a raised 5th, and also the 7th with an added flattened 3rd. Tricky chords, and that'll be the hardest part about these jazz, is learning these chords first. Major 7th, major 6th, minor 7th, minor 6th with a raised 5th, and then the 7th with an added flattened 3rd. So now that we've learned the chords, let's start to play some jazz. We've got the piece of music that I've written here called the Jazz Standard. It just uses those chords, no other shaped chords there. So even so some of the chords might be familiar, like the minor 7th for example, we're going to do it the way the jazz chords way. As you probably figured out, the jazz chords are quite a departure from the chords we've learned previously. They're unusual shapes and unusual fingerings, and they're certainly difficult. But with perseverance, you'll make some really lovely music with them. Anyway, let's have a look at the Jazz Standard. The first chord up is the G major 7th chord, which as we know is our major 7th shape with the root note here on the 6th string to make it a G. One bar of that, then we've got the G major 6th, so we change to that. And again. And again. next chord up, the start of the third line, is a B minor 7th chord. So to get a B root note, of course, we have to go up to here to the 7th fret where the note is B. So that's going to be played by the second finger, and then the third finger is going to do its little mini bar down there across the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings. Now we've got one bar of that note, that chord, and then another bar of C major 7th. That's the major 7th shape with the C root note though, which is up here on the 8th fret. Then another bar of the B minor 7th. And then a bar of the B minor 6th with a raised 5th, which is back, or B flat minor 6. So the B flat note, of course, is on the 6th fret. And then we play this. I call this the staircase one because these three fingers walk up like a staircase there. And then we've got a half bar of B minor 7th, half bar of B flat minor 6 with a sharp 5th, half bar of A minor 7th, and then half bar of the G sharp 7 with the added flattened 3rd, which is the tricky chord there. And then it's back to the beginning again. So let's just play that piece and see what it sounds like, just with the standard strumming. I'd recommend, until you can get it strumming properly, I wouldn't even try to play the fingerpicked version or the arpeggio version. I would stick with just with the strumming version only and try and get it right. And let's have a go now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning again. So that's quite a nice sounding piece. Even strummed that sounds quite good as well, especially if you get some interesting sort of strumming in there and try and get some really bit of a groove going. Quite a groovy sounding sort of a piece there. So that's the jazz standard, using these very difficult jazz chords and to put them together and make them into a nice piece of music. Anyway, so that piece is now played again for you shortly, one with the fingerpicked version and one with an arpeggio version, which makes it even more difficult again because it brings the right hand really into focus and really into action along with the really difficult left hand chords. So I would expect it'll take a number of weeks, perhaps even months, till you get this piece really right, but some perseverance, you'll really reap the rewards because it's a lovely sounding piece of music. What we're going to do now is learn the finger-picked version of the jazz standard piece. So as we know, it uses the same chords as what we just learned there, those tricky jazz chords, and also exactly the same as the jazz standard that we played when we strummed. We're just going to finger-pick it now. So we've got some new and interesting ideas here though. It's mainly around the left hand, right hand. So first of all, let's put down the first chord, the G major 7th. Let's have a look now what we're going to do with the right hand. As we know, on these chords here, we can only play the fretted notes only, so we can't play the 5th string or the 1st string, and they should be muffled out in any case. But for now, let's have a look at what the tab says to do there. So to play the bass note, the 3rd fret on the 6th string, so we'll play that one with our thumb. Then it says to play the note, the 4th fret on the 4th string, so we'll do that with the 1st finger. So the 1st, 2nd and 3rd fingers are going to be playing the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings there, ignoring the 1st string altogether. So how we learned to fingerpick way back in the beginner's course was that these fingers always had the 1st, 2nd and 3rd strings, and all we've done is just raise that up by a string. Lift it up and raise it up just a little bit so they do the same strings. So the picking's relatively simple though. Picks the first 2 notes and then it's going to play the next 2 together. And then the last half of the bar. So let's put that together. Nice and simple. And then we do the same thing on the G major 6th chord, so we change chords and do the same picking again. Back to the major 7th again. The major 6th. And then we're along to the 3rd bar. As you can see, all we've done here is change the finger picking a little bit. We're going to pluck 2 notes together at the start and then pluck all 3 strings in the middle there. So it's going to go, that's the first part. Next part we're going to play the 3rd string note, then the 4th string note, and then all 3 of them in the same second half. So that next bar is going to go. Then we change to the G6 chord, and here we're going to do the first half of the bar with exactly the same picking as what we did the last bar. Then we're going to do a little bit of finger picking lead there. So we're going to take the chord off and pick the open string, 3rd string, then the 2nd fret, 3rd string, then the open string again. So on the 6th chord, this is how it's going to go. So we want to get, so what we're doing is we're breaking away from the chord and going to put a little bit of lead in there. So quite tricky to do, especially to get back to the chord in a hurry, that's all. So the next chord up is the G major 7th again, same picking again. And then the G major 6th, where we're just going to pluck the first 3 notes of it. And then it's all lead from there. Open string 3rd string first, 4th fret 3rd string, 2nd fret 3rd string, open 3rd string, and then open 4th string. So that bar there is the tricky one. But it leads us into the next chord really nicely, which is what we want. So let's just go up to there. We're going to go through the major 6th, and the major 7th and the major 6th, just the changes there, and just doing different finger picking on it to get some really neat effect. I'll play up to that point just before we do the B minor 7th. So with the picking there, what we're doing is kind of slack picking, where we're just picking the string with the same finger. So for that little lead part, all the notes on the 3rd string are still going to be done by the 2nd finger. Like that. And then the 4th string note that's open is going to be done by the 1st finger. Anyway, so we move on to the next chord now. It's the B minor 7th chord. So we're up to here. Of course, we want the root note of the B, so here we are. And we're going to put the 3rd finger down there on this little mini bar. The picking is the same again as what we were doing earlier. Nice and simple. So the 2nd string and the bass together, then the 3rd string, 4th string, then the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all together, then the bass, 2nd string, 3rd string. Then we're up to the C major 7th chord up here. So we change to the C major 7th chord, different picking again. So we pick the bass first, then the 4th string, then the 3rd and 2nd together, and then all 4 of them, and then a little bit at the end. Then we're back to the B minor 7th chord again for a repeat of what we did before. Then down to the B flat minor 6 with a sharpened 5th there, with a staircase chord. Like this, and we're just going to be picking, nothing's being picked together here at all, it's just a nice easy. I'll do that again. So it's the bass, the 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string, 2nd string, and 3rd string. Nice little effect there of an arpeggio type picking pattern again. Then we come to the last line. This is the tricky line. It's the B minor 7th chord, which is plucked, and then we slap down, do an open 6th string, not quite like that though, more of a. Then we go to the B flat, the staircase chord, same thing again. So that's there. We play the chord, all 4 strings, slap our fingers down, play the open bass, open 6th string, slap open. Then we're onto the A minor 7th chord back here. We play the all 4, slap open string, and then we're into this chord here. The G sharp 7 with the added flattened 3rd, and then just the easy part at the end of the bar, and then a nice arpeggio picking pattern from there. So let's try that last little part again. Quite hard for you to do there. Anyway, I'll play the piece through for you twice now. First time I'll play it really slow, just so you can see how it all fits together, and the second time I'll play it up to speed there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning again there. This time I'll play it a little bit quicker at more of the speed that it should be played at. back to the beginning there. So that's the finger-picked version of the jazz standard. A very nice sounding piece, but quite difficult to do, and a good workout for the right hand, of course, and the left hand is now not only just fingering the difficult chords, but also putting in just the slightest little bit of lead there as well. So hard work, but well worth it. Now we're going to learn the arpeggio version of the jazz standard. As we can see, it uses exactly the same chords and also the same format and the same layout as what we had for both the finger-picked version and also the strummed version. So what we'll do now is we'll go through it bar by bar, analysing it and looking at exactly what we're doing there. So let's look at the first bar. It's a G major 7th chord here, so we put our fingers down on the G major 7th shape. Then what we're going to do, we can see on the tab, it plays the 6th string first, 3rd fret, so that's going to be a downstroke with our pick. And then we're going to play the 2nd string. We're going to do this one with an upstroke. And then the 3rd string with an upstroke. And then we're going to do a strum. So that's our first half of the bar. Down, up, strum. And then we've got 3 ups at the end there, with the notes of the 3rd fret 2nd string, 4th fret 3rd string, and 4th fret 4th string. So that whole bar is a down, up, strum, up. So not too hard. Just a little variation on the arpeggio patterns we learned way back in session 3 there. Let's look at the second bar now. This is where it gets a bit trickier. So we're onto the G major 6th chord, which is nice and easy. Now we pick the bass with a downstroke. Then we're going to do the 3rd fret 2nd string, so that's an upstroke there, and then 4th fret 2nd string, that's an upstroke as well. Now the next half of the bar is a bit trickier. It's actually doing a bit of a lick there. It's quite a fast lick and it's hard to play, but it uses a couple of pull-offs there to give it a real exciting sort of a feel. So the first part does an open 3rd string, and then we play the 2nd fret 3rd string and pull that note off, and then the 2nd fret 4th string and pull that note off. And then we play open 3rd and open 4th. So it's an open 3rd, pull off on the 2nd to the 0, and then 2nd to 0 on the 4th string, and then open 3rd and open 4th. So with the picking for that, we should really do a downstroke on the first note, upstroke on the 2nd note, downstroke on the 3rd note, and then up. Like that there. So let's try and put those 2 bars together now. We've got the first bar and the second bar. So if that was up to speed, it sounds very effective. Quite effective there, but quite tricky to do. So what you want to do is practice just doing the lick on its own. And then try and put it in with the rest of the bar. Try and get it all in time there. Quite tricky. Now let's look at the third bar. Third bar is nice and easy. It's just a repeat again of what we did in the first bar. The fourth bar is a bit different again. What we're going to do is play the G major 6th chord, so we do that. We're going to do the downstroke, and then up, going through all the notes of the chord there. And then the second half of the bar has got 2 triplets there. You can tell they're triplets because of the little 3s above them, and we can see the hammer-on licks. So the first thing we play is an open 5th string. Then we hammer on with the 2nd fret, and then with the upstroke there, we're going to play the open 4th string. So that's our first part. And then we're going to play the 2nd triplet lick, which is by doing the open 4th string, hammering on with the 2nd fret, and then the upstroke on the 3rd string. So that's the second half of that bar. Quite tricky. Let's try and put it all together. We've got the G major 6th chord there, so we do the first half of it, 1 and 2 and then the lick. So that's our fourth bar. Oops, sorry, start that again. So let's try the first line of music there. Doing a G major 7th, G major 6th with the lick, then G major 7th again, G major 6th with the second variation on the lick. So let's try and play it all now. Quite tricky. Now the whole second line of music is just a repeat of the first, so that way we actually get our 8 bars all together, of 1 bar of major 7th, 1 bar major 6th, 1 bar major 7th, 1 bar major 6th, and the same thing again. And that's our first 8 bars. Let's go on and have a look from there. We then go to a B minor 7th chord, which as we know is up here, exactly the same as our other versions of course, with an arpeggio pattern, simple, just like we did on the major 7th there. Bass, and then coming up, up, and then strum, and then up, up, up. Then we go to the C major 7th chord here. This is a bit different again. We're going to go down, 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 and then up, up, and then you can see it's an open 5th string. The reason it's open 5th is that's where we're changing chords. Like that. So you won't even notice it's an open 5th string. It's not one of the notes of the chord, but it will still work in okay. So that's our 7th, our 8th, and 9th and 10th bars. The next bar, of course, is a repeat again on the B major 7th. Then we go back to the B flat minor 6 with the raised 5th, which is here. Simple arpeggio pattern, just with one of the pedal bass like we did back in session 3. Going down on the bass, up, 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 down, up, up, up. Then a bit different again, back to the B major 7th. Strum, slap the hand down, do 2 basses, and then major 6 with a raised 5th. Strum, 2 basses, A minor 7th, strum, bass, and then into this G sharp 7. And then just a very easy up, 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 up at the end there. So that last line is a... So I'll play it for you now twice through. The first time I'll play it very slowly just so you can understand exactly what's going on, and the second time I'll speed it up to more of a normal speed there. So again, it'll be a lot of work. It's even harder than the fingerpicked version, this one, but it's really good workout for the right hand here, and also gets you playing some really good licks down with the left. Let's try it now. 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning again. I'll play it again for you now, this time at more of a pacey type of a pace that we would ordinarily use. Back into it from there. So that's the jazz standard with the fingerpicked or the arpeggio version. Quite a lot harder, quite a workout for the right hand, but well worth the effort if you can get it right. But these licks will be tricky for a while, and you may just have to skip them. But I'll leave that up to your own interpretation there. Of course, the most important thing is to learn the chords, get the right hand right, and then from there you can do whatever you like with the licks.